Hey guys, Nock here again. Back at you with another discussion video, just because so the PTB is coming out tomorrow, and I have been meaning to want to do a video about diminishing returns, because for those who didn't catch the live stream, which was on the Friday, I believe it was, it was recent, it was a few days ago. They talked about basically what was coming up in the PTB, which comes out tomorrow, and the main biggest thing which is coming to the game is diminishing returns. Now, for those who don't know, diminishing returns is basically a system in games where if you keep doing like the same like value of something or like the same effect, it will have like less and less effect. So if you take like an instance of like haste from DBD or healing, and you've got like a perk, and then you stop on a second perk, that second perk is going to do like slightly less of an effect, because they don't want like the effect to be like too big, too strong, like how it's been at the moment. Because we've all games, and either someone's just zooming, or someone heals really quickly, someone repairs a gen too quickly, like, you know, we've all been there, it all happens in the matches. To be honest, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done this a little bit sooner. Now, don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of various things I've had to be like getting on with. I think the most recent like stuff I can think of the top of my head was like, you know, anti-camping stuff, tunneling, stuff like that. Of course, there was meant to be other stuff like anti-stalking, etc. So like they've tried stuff, you know, here and there, so I can't really like, you know, blame them or anything. They just, you know, had their focus on other stuff, which is fine. But diminishing returns, the more I think about it, the more I think it's going to be more like a like half effect of what I initially thought. Because when they initially was talking about it and giving examples, I was like, oh yeah, this is really cool. It's going to change up the meta, and that's what they're going for. They're trying to basically change up the meta, change up what you like come across and all that. And I think that will be true, but only partially, because the more I've been playing recently and all that, I'm thinking about this in the back of my head, the more I'm like, ooh, this will change this, but then it won't change like in this other thing. So I'm kind of just going to go through some of my points, and we'll like kind of discuss them one by one, and hopefully you'll get what I'm coming at. So I'm going to start with Survivor, because I do think this overall like system, we'll just call it, is going to affect Survivor more, which kind of sucks for me because I am a Survivor main. But so Survivors tend to have more of like the perks, we'll almost say, which they're like going for, like affecting, so haste, healing, repair speed, you know, stuff like that. And you've got more cases where someone can throw more of them on. So, and obviously if someone though throws like 4 like haste perks on, or 4 healing perks, because I think 4 healing perks is probably the most common thing you might see at the moment. Obviously the diminishing returns is going to kick in. It could make it so like, I don't know, botany only does like half its effect an hour, because you've got like well, make it on, and then maybe you've got we're gonna live forever. Like there's just so many different like possibilities almost of how this affects something, because it's going to obviously come down to what perks you're running. But healing and I think gens get hit hard the most by this. Then I was thinking haste, especially because they gave the example of haste and how they had like hope on, but then they've got made for this, and they gave the example, I think, of like if you had hope on, that would be its full value, but then made for this would only be like 2% less or something like that, or maybe 1% less, so it would go from like 3 to 2. So then it's like, okay, so if you run 4 haste perks, one of them might do like nothing, but it might also then depend on like what the initial haste perk is. Maybe it's an exhaustion perk, so that 4th perk might do nothing, but then it might actually do something, you know, if that like makes sense. So there's that, and then there's healing and, you know, gen stuff. And don't get me wrong, I think from like almost a game health balance, this is good, this is fine, because you're not gonna have like 3 people with like gen builds and then 1 person with like a chase build, let's say, because then that person takes chase, the other people blast out the gens and all that. But what I do think is going to kind of be a problem, and I would like to be proven wrong, you know, when this PTB comes out and when it actually comes to live and all that. But so this is obviously going to mix up the meta. So you're going to now have survivors all running like 4 different perks. So like maybe it's like they've got an exhaustion perk, a gem perk, a healing perk, stuff like that. But now I can't help but think you might just have made a scenario where everyone's running like, I don't know, life, botany with like DS for anti-tunnel, and then like deja vu or something like that. You know, like basically there might just be like the best of the best in each of them categories, and people could just run all of them. That way they're getting value from each of them, but they're not getting the diminishing returns. But then at the same time, you have also made a healthier game because they can't like do any of them things as quickly. So like I see what they're going for, but at the same time, give it enough time, it might still be like stale, if that makes sense. That you might still be seeing the same things. But this is where we get to the killer side of things, which I will touch on in 1 second. But the only other thought I do want to give quickly on the survivor side of things is items. I don't remember if they said this, and again, the PTB is out tomorrow, so we could just like check then. But are items gonna affect this, or is it gonna be like the killer power, where the killer power and its add-ons like don't affect it initially and it just goes off of that? Because if it goes off of like me using a medkit, then technically that would be it not as bad for like survivor. But if it accounts in for the medkit, so like let's say I've got a medkit and botany, but because like I've got a really good like purple medkit, my botany then gets affected, like is that going to be a thing? And even if it is a thing, then it's only going to be temporary. So then you've got like, you almost don't have like a consistent healing speed, let's say, throughout like the match. So like, don't get me wrong, I said this is, I know they said this is like a long-term thing, and obviously all of it could be changed. They could dial back a bit of how harsh it is, or maybe it is too forgiving, so they like ramp it up in terms of how like diminishing the returns are. But in a game like DBD where you've got so many possibilities, so many things which can like affect the stuff as well, and then you've got other perks coming out, like I'm very curious to see, but I do think it's going to affect survivor more. But that's why I got onto killer. Now again, the key thing about this is it's a meta shake-up. I do like that. I like mix-up, I like change, I like the game like evolving. But what is stopping me as a killer still running like the same 4 things? Like I can still run like Corrupt, Pain Res, Deadman's, Grim, Pop, No Way Out. Like I can still just run the best of the best stuff on like, you know, Nurse or Blight or Spirit, or like, you know, any of the killers. Like the only way, whilst I was thinking about it, I think it can affect killer is maybe like a niche vault build, but even then that's only on like Myers, and I don't think it would affect him that much. Or like haste, because I don't think it's going to affect like gen kicking or gen regression from what I've gathered. So then the only thing I think of is haste, and that's probably the most like realistic common example that, you know, you're gonna come across. Because like, yeah, like maybe it could affect like healing speed reductions. Like let's say you've got Gift of Pain with leverage, like that's a nice combo, but is diminishing returns gonna work on that or not? Because one's a debuff, but then one's just a sloppy effect, you know, like are they cast as different things? That's where like I'm curious like basically how this is gonna work, but at the same time, like I can't think of much of how it's gonna affect killer. Like it's mainly only gonna affect survivor more, I think, which again I'm not saying is necessarily a bad thing, but I just like, unless you don't like almost deep think on all of this and all the perks of in the game and how the killers work, from face value you were just like, yeah, it's great. And don't get me wrong, again, I cannot stress it is good. It is good that they're doing this, but I don't know, I just gotta wait and see. And the only other thing I did like kind of want to touch on is how this might slightly in some way backfire and affect weaker killers. But again, this is a may, because I don't know how it's going to work. Because a thought kind of just entered my mind as I was kind of just thinking about it and jotting down notes and all that is, let's say you're playing a weaker killer. Like I was doing some games earlier today as Trickster, and I use like batteries included. But let's say you're using batteries included and like nowhere because you're a weak killer, you expect them to like get to endgame or something. Like then that's like the haste, but then the haste is gonna get diminishing returns on it. So like, is that just gonna make some weaker killers kind of weaker, or have I missed something where they're gonna like somehow be able to like balance this now around so it doesn't affect weaker killers as much. Like, I don't know. Like, of course, because again, they're not including the power. They're not like including the power. The power like is just like own thing with the add-ons and all that. So there's just so many like layers and like questions to this. But I mean, I guess we'll just have to find out tomorrow. And then again, even when it comes out tomorrow, we gotta wait for the live release and see what it is, because I do feel like feedback is going to be like really important on this PTB and just how they do the system, because of course the last like system change we've had and all that has been like the anti-slug, the anti-camp, the anti-tunnel and all that, and feedback shifted all that around like a lot. But that's just kind of going to be it for me, guys. Basically, like, I do think this is going to be like almost a one-sided change, but again, not in a bad way. I just think one side is being affected more by this than the other, but hey, I guess we'll see. I could be wrong. Maybe, you know, a few updates down the line they do some like perk changes as well, and that could shift it up and make me look at this in a completely different way. But again, I am happy for this. I'm not, you know, being all like, ooh, the game's color-sided now. Like, again, I'm just happy for the game that's been changed and all that. I welcome change, and we will just have to wait and see tomorrow, like, how it is affected. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. I did kind of ramble a lot, I apologize, but let me know down below what you think. Are you gonna be trying the PTB tomorrow? We will no doubt be streaming it tomorrow, probably. So if you do want to come by, look at all the changes and all that, feel free to drop by. Link will be below. But yes, like, comment, subscribe if you did enjoy this, and I will hopefully catch you guys in the next one for like something which isn't, you know, DBD yapping, but we'll see. Right, take care, guys, and bye bye.